Just a quick note before we get started. This video is part of our mathematics and statistics module in our FE review course. If you would like access to the complete module right now, as well as other FE review modules, a practice exam, and live Q&As, make sure to go to the link in the description and go to our FE Exam Academy. Once you go to the link and join, you'll have access to our full support in passing your FE exam. If you find this video useful, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for future updates. That being said, let's go ahead and get into today's topic. Hello, welcome to the first 10 problems of the analytic geometry section for mathematics and statistics. These 10 problems are going to be on lines and slopes. And as always, remember to try the problems yourself before you follow along with me for the solution so you get the most out of the problems, okay? So for this first one, it's going to be straightforward. It's just going to be find the slope of the line passing through points 1, 2, and 4, 10. So for those formulas for the straight lines, we're going to go to the FE reference manual and we can find those on page 35. A lot of these are straightforward that you should know from class and stuff, but everything is here if you need to look at it. So for this one, we just need to find the slope. So the slope formula is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's go back to the problem. So as you can see, this is the formula we're going to be using. So for our case, our y2 is going to be 10, and then our y1 is going to be 2, and then all of that is going to be over x2 minus x1. Our x2 is going to be 4, and our x1 is going to be 1. So then the result is going to be 8 over 3. So if we look at the multiple choice, the answer for this first problem is going to be 8 over 3. Okay, so now we're moving on to question 2. We have a similar problem. We need to find the slope of a line given by this equation here. As you can see, this equation is not in standard form. Just as a reminder for what standard form is, it's going to be right here, standard form of an equation, y equals mx plus b. So to find the slope, we need to put this in standard form. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to rewrite our formula real quick for our problem. That's the one we were originally given. So we need to isolate the y variable. What we're going to do is we're just going to subtract the 2y from both sides. So we're going to end up with this. It's going to be equal to 6 plus 2y. And then now we're going to subtract 6 from both sides. So we're going to end up with 3x minus 6 is equal to 2y. And then we can switch the order of these and it'll still be the same equation. It just looks the way we're supposed to have it, right? Y equals mx plus b. Now in order to get y equals mx plus b, we're just going to divide by 2. So then our result is going to be y equals 3 over 2 x minus 3. And then remember, it's y equals mx plus b. So in this case, m is 3 over 2. So that means our slope is going to be 3 over 2, and our answer for question 2 is going to be A. Alright, moving on to question 3, we have a problem where we need to write the equation of a line that passes through point 5, negative 2 and has a slope of 4 over 3. So in order to do that, we're going to use a formula called the point slope formula. This is also in the FE reference manual in the same place as the previous ones. This is the point slope formula right here. It's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So anytime that you're asked to find an equation and you're given a point and a slope, use the point slope formula. So that's the formula right there. In this case, it's going to be y minus our y1, which is going to be negative 2. And then it's going to be equal to 4 over 3, which is our slope, times x minus 5. So then what we need to do is we need to simplify our formula. So y minus negative 2 is the same as y plus 2. And then we'll just multiply everything out over here. So 4/3 times x is 4/3 x. And then 4/3 times negative 5 is going to be negative 20 over 3. So now remember, we need to isolate the y to get our standard form of an equation. So in order to do that, we're going to subtract 2 from both sides, but before we do that, we're going to put 2 in a like term to the 20 over 3. So 2 is the same as 6 over 3, right? Because 6 divided by 3 equals 2. So then that helps us when we do the last step for the simplification, because now we just need to subtract the 6 over 3 from both sides, and then we're going to end up with y equals 4/3 x minus 26 over 3, and that's going to be our answer. So if we look at the multiple choice for this one, the answer is going to be D. Moving on to question 4. As you can see, this is the same type of question as the one we did previously. I included this one so we could get some extra practice with the point slope form. So with this one, we have a point passing through -3, 4, and we have a slope of 2 over 5. Okay, so let's go ahead and plug in our point and our slope for the formula. So our y1 in this case is 4, our slope is 2 over 5, and we're going to do x minus -3. So now we're just going to go ahead and simplify further. Y minus 4 is equal to 2/5 x plus 6 over 5 in this case. So now what we need to do is we need to make the 4 a like term as the 6 over 5 like we did in the previous problem. So we're going to end up with y minus 20 over 5, because 20 divided by 5 is equal to 4. So then that's going to be equal to 2/5 x plus 6 over 5. So then our next step and last step is going to be just isolate the y. That's going to give us y is equal to 2/5 x plus 26 over 5. And then if we take a look at our multiple choice, this answer is going to be B. Okay, so moving on to question 5. In this one, we need to convert our equation from standard form to general form. So if you haven't seen general form in a while, once again, it's in the FE reference manual on page 35. So general form looks like this. As you can see, ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. The a, the b, and the c are going to be constants, and then x and y are obviously our x and y variables. So general form just means that the formula needs to be rearranged to have everything in this order, in this particular order and setup, right? Okay, so now that we've seen that, let's go back to the problem. Okay, so our equation is in standard form, which is what we've been working with so far. I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite it. It's y equals 2/5 x plus 3. So what we need to do is put it in general form. Now, general form cannot have any fractions in it. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to multiply everything by 5 to get rid of the fraction. So that's going to give us 5y is equal to 2x plus 15. And then if you remember, it was in a certain order. It was the x variable first, then the y, then the constant by itself equal to 0. So in order to do that, we're going to subtract 5y from both sides, and we're going to end up with 2x minus 5y plus 15 all equal to 0. And that's going to be our answer. So if you look at the multiple choice, the answer for this one is going to be A. Alright, so moving on to question 6, we have another problem where we need to convert the equation to general form. This time the equation is not in standard form. It looks a little bit different, so we need to work with what we got. So I'm just going to rewrite the formula like I've been doing. 2y minus 3 is equal to 4 over 7 x plus 5. So remember I said earlier, general form cannot have any fractions in it. So once again, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to multiply everything by 7. to get rid of all our fractions. That's going to give us 14y minus 21 is equal to 4x plus 35. So now, to move on with the general form, we need to make sure that it's in the order that I showed you. So x first, and then y, and then our constant is all equal to 0. So we're going to subtract 14y and negative 21 from both sides, move it over to the right side basically, and we're going to end up with 4x minus 14y plus 56 once you add the 21 and the 35. So then all of that is going to be equal to 0. And we have our multiple choice. The answer in this case is going to be D. Okay, so far we've covered how to calculate the slope, we've covered standard form and general form. So this one is going to be something different. A little different, it's going to be, we are given two lines and they have a slope of m1 equals 1/2 and the other one is equal to 4, m2. So we need to find the angle between these two lines. So in order to do that, we're going to go to the FE reference manual, and we can see that the angle between lines formula is right here. You can see, I'm going to highlight it. So you can see right here, it's arctan is equal to m2 minus m1 over 1 plus m2 times m1. Okay, so I went ahead and wrote the formula right here for us so that we can just plug everything in. You're going to plug all of this into your calculator. As always, I recommend the TI-36X Pro, but you can use whatever calculator you have. So for this one, we're going to just plug our stuff in. So it's going to be tan inverse of m2, in this case 4, minus m1 is 1/2, so I'll just put 0.5 to make it easier putting it in the calculator. And then all of that is going to be over 1 plus m2 times m1. So m2 times m1 is 4 times 1/2, and 4 times 1/2 is just going to be equal to 2. So we'll just put 1 plus 2 to make things easier, just simplify it. So then once you put this in your calculator and it's in degrees, you're going to see that the answer is going to be 49 degrees. So that means that the answer for our multiple choice in this case is going to be C. Okay, so moving on to question 8. For this one, we need to find the slope of a line that is perpendicular to the line y equals negative 3 over 2x plus 1. So let me take you over to the FE reference manual real quick. So as you can see, the manual says that two lines are perpendicular if m1 is equal to negative 1 over m2. I'll write it down for us. So m1 is equal to negative 1 over m2. So what that means is that when you're looking for the slope of a line that is perpendicular to the original line, what you're looking for is a slope that is the negative reciprocal of the original slope. So let's say your slope was 5, right? The negative reciprocal would be negative 1 over 5. So that's an easy way to remember that. Just the negative reciprocal of the first slope is going to make a line that is perpendicular to that original slope. So in this case, our slope for the first line we were given is negative 3 over 2. So that's going to be our m1 in this case. Is going to be negative 3 over 2. And then like I said, in order to find the slope of a line perpendicular to this slope, we're just going to look for the negative reciprocal. So the negative reciprocal in this case would be 2/3. So that means that our multiple choice answer is going to be B. So this concept is pretty straightforward. I feel like it can just be a little bit confusing with the formula that we're given. But just remember that when you need to find a perpendicular slope to a line you're initially given, you just take the negative reciprocal of the slope you were given at first, and then you'll have your perpendicular slope. So just remember, negative reciprocal. Okay, so for problem 9, we need to find the equation of a line that is perpendicular to the line y equals 6x plus 1 and passes through the point 2, 5. So as always, make sure to give this one a try before you follow along. This one uses multiple concepts that we've covered, so it's a little bit trickier, but I think you can get it. But when you're ready, just follow along with the video and we'll cover the solution. So as you can see, we were given an equation of a line and we were given a point. But we want to find the equation of a line that is perpendicular to the original, to this first line, and passes through this point. So if you think back to the first few problems we did, we basically need to use the point slope formula. Now we were given the original equation of the line as y equals 6x plus 1, but that's not the equation that we actually want at the end. But using the problem that we just covered earlier, we can find the perpendicular slope. So in this case, m1 is going to be equal to 6 from the first equation. And then the negative reciprocal of 6, m2, is going to be negative 1 over 6. So basically this tells us that this slope right here will make a line perpendicular to this line right here. So now we have our slope and we have our point. We reintroduce the concept of point slope. So then y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. If you remember, that's the point slope formula right here. So then we just plug in what we have. Y minus 5 is our y1, is equal to negative 1 over 6. That's our new slope for the perpendicular line, times x minus 2 in this case. And then we're just going to do y minus 5 equals to negative 1 over 6x. And then in this case, it's going to be plus 2 over 6. As you can see, this one can simplify to 1/3. So we're going to have y minus 15 over 3, because 15 divided by 3 is equal to 5, which we had right there. So then we're going to have on the right side negative 16x plus 1/3. And then we're just going to add 15 over 3 on both sides. And we're going to end up with y equals to negative 1 over 6x plus 16 over 3. So if we take a look at our multiple choice, this is going to be A for this one. Okay, so moving on to problem 10. This last problem for this section is a little bit more straightforward than the previous one. We just need to find the distance between 2 points. So what I recommend doing when you see a problem where you need to find the distance is you draw yourself a little diagram. So we have 3, 4, and we have 7, 1. So I'm going to put our 7, 1 right here, and then just draw a dot right there. And then our 3, 4, it's going to be further back, but higher up. So it's going to be 3, 4. I'll put our dot right there. Okay, so we want to find the distance between the 2 points right here. So when I say like draw yourself a little diagram, this is what I do. Like I just draw across from here, and then I draw up from here, and then I know that the distance from 3 to 7 is going to be 4, and then the distance from 1 to 4 is going to be 3, right? But I want to find this distance right here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use the Pythagorean theorem. So you remember a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. So we'll just plug our numbers into the equation. This is going to be c is equal to square root of 3 squared plus 4 squared. And that's going to give us that the answer is 5. So our distance here is 5. Makes sense, right? Because you have a 3, 4, 5 triangle in that case. Just drawing the little diagram can give you that extra little peace of mind that you did your calculations correct. But this brings us to the end of this first section for analytic geometry, where we covered slopes and lines. See you in the next section.